Everyone. I love when our webinars start and I start seeing everyone popping on. So lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. I haven't done an evening webinar in a while, so welcome. So nice to see all of you. We just had dinner. So I'm like, oh, I gotta get going. We did some garage cleaning between work and now, and cleaned the garage, made dinner, scraped some paint, all the things. So I'm happy that you're here. I am just thrilled. So let's get going. People are still coming on, so I will give you just a moment or two. But I do want to remind everyone that there is the replay that will be sent through my email for you. And so here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to stand up for the rest of the webinar just so that I can work with you on my flip chart. Just a few things as people are coming on. So nice to see all of you. You can't see each other. That's normal. This is a webinar. I can see you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So we are here for the 5 vital steps of permanent weight loss. And I am Dara Thomason. I am the weight loss coach for quilters. I was a professional quilter. I was a school teacher. I'm a mom of 5 kids. And as I learned all the life coaching tools, my clients started asking me if I could actually coach them instead of working on their businesses, if I can help them work on their weight loss. And so I decided to get certified myself, and I'm a weight and life coach for quilters. So that's super fun. Now, you know that you're in the right training if you don't weigh what you want. So you feel like weight is a mystery that will never be solved. It feels like it's just like the Bermuda Triangle. You're frustrated about weight loss. You have gone up and down on the scale for a long time. You can't remember the last time you were at your ideal weight. You are sick and tired of spending time and money on weight loss. You feel like there are too many strikes against you, like menopause and DNA and all those things. And so it's just like, this is just too much. I can't be successful. Okay. And the last one is you feel resigned about achieving your weight goal. So who can relate to this? All right. So you know you're in the right training if this is something you can relate to. This is your experience. And I want you to know that thousands of quilters, too many quilters, and I'm saying quilters, but women in general, they stay confused about weight loss. They do too much of the wrong thing. So they're like always on the hunt for the right diet. We have to find the right diet that's going to give me the result that I want. You never become thin on your own because never become their own boss, right, about weight loss. So you depend on the diets and you depend on other authorities. So you never become your own authority. You scattered or you're wrong focused. You do too much of not the right things. You do too much of the things that aren't going to serve you. And I'm going to be talking about that in the webinar. And you fail too little. So that is what's happening for you. Now, one of the things that I'm going to walk you through the typical weight loss journey. So you get on the scale and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? I know for me, I was like in so much denial for so long. I was like, why do I have to keep buying bigger sizes? Like, what's going on? Like, I didn't even clue in that I was actually the one getting bigger. So you feel really bad about yourself. You're like, oh, I'm just so terrible. Like, how did I get to this number on the scale? This is awful. And so then you research like crazy. You go on a hunt for the solution. So you put a lot of energy and a lot of attention in finding the right solution. Okay. Then you go and you invest in a program. You put your whole heart into it. You're like, okay, I got to make this work. And then you rely on a lot of like deprivation. You have a lot of fear. You do a lot of this. Like, you better figure this out. You better smarten up. You better behave. You better, right? You do a lot of punitive action. Like, come on, what's wrong with you, right? And there's a lot of fear. So that's driving you. So instead of going to a restaurant and ordering something because it's healthy, you go because you're like, you better behave, rather than I want to just take care of my body and I just want to focus on my conversations and I don't want to have to feel sick or bloated or anything like that. Okay. Then you exhaust yourself. This is an exhausting way to live. It's like, oh, by the end of the day, you're like, oh my goodness, do I have to keep going? If I see one more calorie or one more counter or one more whatever, I'm going to just, keel over. This is awful. So then what happens is you actually get to the number on the scale that you want, but a couple of things happen. So one, you get there and you're like, why isn't my life happier? Then you also celebrate, that's a little party hat. You reward yourself. So you're like, I can just ease off this for a little bit. I know what to do. I know how to lose the weight. It can happen again, right? And then you go back to your old ways because the path of getting to that number on the scale was horrible. And you're like, I don't want to keep that up. Or it was like really expensive and you're eating food that you don't even really like and you're really dependent. So then you sabotage yourself. So you're like, well, I've never, really ever gotten those results. The DNA, right? Like my hereditary, like my genes, we just are larger women. My hormones, right? I'm in menopause. People with menopause, they just gain weight. What about politics? Oh, it's just so stressful. How can anyone eat properly with all this stress? Or COVID, right? Or the weather. Like there's so many different reasons why people feel like, yeah, not going to happen. Nope, sorry. And then what happens is then we resign. So we lose our hope. And then we just go back to eating and we just go back to turning to food for our comfort, just turning to food for any of that, good feeling. And then we go back to the doctors and we have to weigh ourselves, or we don't have anything to fit in they're only wearing like leggings. And we're just like, what is happening? So we once again, wait for the time on the scale goes up, and then the vicious cycle happens again. So I want to hear, you can say it in the chat if you want, but how many of you can relate to this? This is the reason why we have yo-yo dieting. This explains why you just keep going up and down on the scale. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you. There's 4 or 5 reasons why this vicious cycle, this yo-yo dieting happens. Okay. So the first one is we have a crumbled foundation. Our foundation is not set. So if I was to make a quilt, so my long arm, I had a computer on my long arm and I wasn't really interested in learning. I don't really see myself that much as a computer person. And I would much rather be quilting than working on a computer. So I had just said to my husband, like, you just figure that out and then just tell me what to do. Or I would, my husband wasn't interested in that. So the other alternative was I would wait for office hours, call the amazing lady there, Liz is her name, and she would walk me through things. So if I ever made any mistakes, I had to make sure it was on the office hours and I had to wait on them. I know this is so ridiculous, right? Like I never really understood any of the process. I was like, well, I kind of can do it. But so if something happened at like 6 o'clock and they were closed, I just had to wait till the next day. Couldn't do any more quilting because I didn't know what I did. Okay. So, when you don't know the rules, you rely on others, you don't know the process, it feels scary, you don't have confidence. So I eventually just sold that machine. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm just gonna do the free motion. That's way more my game. So the problem is we spend our time hunting for the right diet. We think it's keto. We think it's intermittent fasting. We think it's Weight Watchers. We think it's Noom. We think it's the next best thing, right? And you see that you watch this infomercial, it looks amazing, and you have all these testimonials, and it feels like, wow, maybe I can have self-control like them. Okay. So we're spending a lot of time doing that. Then we're also kind of like how I was with the computer. I was like, just tell me how, just tell me how, just tell me how, right? Instead of understanding what was going on. And then we become a really good student. So we have those memorized steps, right? So it's just like, I do this, I eat this salad at this time, and then I put my timer on, and then I eat these nuts with this combination of vegetable, and then I make this shake, and I do that thing, and I just be a really good student, and I hope that nothing terrible happens. I hope nobody gets sick, or I hope nobody says anything mean to me. because I don't know how to deal with that. So maybe I'll just like stay by myself. Okay, so maybe I'll just spend a lot of time on Facebook and just hide so that I don't have to deal with things. Okay, this is what's happening when you become that really good student, memorize step, you don't really understand. And then you become really reliant on external experts. Okay, what do I do now? What do I do? Tell me. Do I put sweet potatoes with what meat? Right? And you just are always just like, tell me, tell me, tell me. And you never really understand it for yourself. Okay, so you never become independent. So number two, we think we need to have a lot of motivation to do things. This is a bomb with a short fuse. Okay. So we think we need to feel a certain way. We're like, oh, I've got to just feel like so pumped up, and I have to have a playlist, and I have to, wake up on the right side of the bed, and I have to do all these things. And we think it has to do with our motivation. So we might go listen to one of my podcasts, or you might listen to, I don't know, a TED Talk or something, and be like, oh, okay, I can do this, right? But motivation is just a very short fuse. It doesn't not long lasting, and it doesn't take in consideration the human experience, where mother-in-laws will call, or your daughter might call and say, the kids, I'm sick and the kids can't go to school or whatever, can you babysit, right? And then your whole day goes, you get to decide if you want to be babysitter or not. It's like we have all, like, life happens and it doesn't account for that. The third one is external identity. So limited thinking about yourself. Just had to stop. Yes, it's recording. Limited thinking about yourself. Okay. So you think that there's only a certain way to be happy. I have to weigh a certain amount in order to be happy. I have to have a certain amount of money in the bank to be happy. I need to have a certain size of stash to be happy. I need to have finished so many, like Farmer's Wife and all these different quilts, Twilight Garden. I need to have had ribbons. I need to have, you keep saying, I think I have, like, those things are what's going to create happiness for me. That's actually not true. But if we think that, then it's like, I call this the plateau effect. It's like, when I have that, then I can be happy. It's very conditional. So then the other part of this is that we spend a lot of time trying to prove, trying to earn, and deserve our worth, feeling good. And so we feel like we have to just get really, like, we have to really grind it out. And so what happens now is we have a lot of hustle and nervous energy. Like it's very hurried. It's like, I don't care about the process. I'll take the diet pills. I'll do the thing. I'll do the, I'll pay all that money. I just got to get to the result. So you're not interested in the process. Okay. Now, the fourth, so as I'm going through this, I know I'm kind of going quickly. So I'm going to be going through this. It'll probably take me about 45 minutes to present the 5 vital steps to permanent sustainable weight loss. And then I'm going to talk to you about how you can work with me in my brand new lifetime membership. So I will talk about that later. So you can, if you have any questions about that, just keep those for the end and I will be able to answer those for you. Okay. All right. So now the fourth reason why we have all this vicious cycle business going on is that we think that weight loss is, here's our weight and here's time. So with time and weight, we just have to continuously lose that weight. We think that's the way weight loss goes. It's like 2 pounds a week. I even have a part of my program, in my bonus program, that says you can lose 2 pounds a week. And in fact, I have a money back guarantee for my lifetime membership, 20 pounds in 90 days. But the problem, this is not how weight loss works. We go up 3 pounds, we go down 2 pounds, we go up. It's like the stock market, it's just inverse. And then we have plateaus and then we drop a bit. Like it really is just this fluctuating. And so, but if we see the scale goes up 3 pounds, we're like, that's it. I failed. I guess I can't be a thin person after all. And then you go and get a consolation prize, buy a donut. Or that chocolate that's calling your name that you have hidden in the recesses of your house in case of emergency, right? So how is actually achieved? How do we actually achieve permanent weight loss? Here we go. Let me just get this unfolded. So we've got to break the cycle. Now, our brains, so I'm a life coach. So what a life coach does is that we get to see what's going on in our brains. Our thoughts create our results in our life. So 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. We have a lot of we do a lot of automatic robot kind of stuff. So we once lived in a house and we moved 2 minutes away. And it was just when I was going home, I was tired, I was just going having conversations with the kids, and I missed our turn. I was like, oh, I don't live at that other house. I live at this one, because our brain was just like, okay, we got this. It's just very automatic. So we've got to go into our automatic brain, which is like our lower brain. That's one of its rules, is to help reduce energy. And so it's like, let's get systems. And I love me a system, right? Like a half square triangle. It's like, okay, we just do it. We don't have to think about it. We can just be watching quilting videos or whatever it is, and we can just be doing it. We don't have to be so super focused, right? It's like driving with a brand new driver versus, us that have driven more. So to break the cycle, we have to understand what's happening in our brain. We have we go into passive action, and passive action feels like we're doing something. It feels like it's very productive, because what we're doing is we're researching. We're like, I'm going to get a lot of knowledge, because our lower brain equates knowledge equals safety. Okay. And so when we're studying and researching all these diets, and it feels like really serious, like we're taking this very seriously. And by the way, I do hope that you research my process. And I hope that you do watch my testimonials and that you do contemplate it. And I am going to talk to you about that in the next step. But this is, if we're always staying here, what happens is when we follow diets, it feels like we're actually doing it. But a diet doesn't get the underlying problem. And the underlying problem is, and I'm going to show you, but there's only one reason why we're overweight. That's it. It's not about your hormones. It's not about your hereditary. It's not about any of it. Those, even the DNA, I'm going to tell you, it's a lot more about the culture of your family than the actual DNA. And it's been fascinating for me to do research on that. I have a really good training in my YouTube on breaking the myth, weight loss myths, Mythbusters. And it was fascinating when I did that research for that. So this is why we're overweight. That's it. We eat food. That food has energy. So calories are literally just how much energy how long does it take for that energy to burn? So we heat our house with wood. Our Budas wood has a denser wood. It has more calories than like pine. Okay. So if we had the chance, if we saw arbutus, we'd be like, oh yes, let's get as much arbutus as possible. It's like more bang for your buck, right? It's just the calories. It's just so much more dense. And so every food has its own assigned calories. So even like paper and metal and fabric, they all have a calorie count. It all is like, how much does it take to, how much energy is expended when it burns. Okay. And then our body requires energy to live, and we can consume more energy than our body can use. So when we consume more, it's like filling up our gas tank, and our car is like, we're actually full. We don't need any more. And you're like, okay, well, I'm filling it up. So it gets a bunch of jerry cans. And that's what's happening. So now our body stores this extra fat because it's like, well, these are my jerry cans. It doesn't have anywhere else to put it. Okay. So the question is, why are you consuming more energy, right? More energy than your body needs. So do you see now that it's actually not about the food? It's about what is the action? What are the reasons why you keep consuming more than what your body needs? And so now we can solve for this. Then we know we can have a sustainable permanent weight loss. We can figure it out. Okay. So back here, we need to break the cycle. So our brain thinks that knowledge equals safety. That is how we are wired. But we're also able to understand what's called productive action. And productive action basically is you interacting with food, you interacting with the scale, you interacting with what's going on when you eat certain food, when you sleep a certain amount, when you drink a certain amount of water, when you do all these things, like how often you eat, how much you eat. And you're like, oh my goodness, look at me. I'm interacting. I'm looking at what's happening with the food that I'm eating. And now I am being very productive. And so you take the emotion out of the number on the scale. So now you can be objective. And this is the most beautiful thing. You get to fail. And I like to say you can only fail so many times until you figure it out, right? Like think about being a mom. You got that baby and you're like, do I know what I'm doing here? You're like, well, I'm gonna figure it out. Or you get your new job. I remember they gave me the keys to my classroom and I was like, do I really know what I'm doing? Like, I've never had a classroom by myself before. And they just said, here you go. I was like, oh, right? Anytime you have something new. And so we learn from experience. And so the problem is diet, knowledge, and obedience does not equal permanent sustainable weight loss. And I'm gonna just correct that right now. Because you know what? You can lose weight. And all of you have. I mean, really, even like I could even say like a month from now, everyone just do your own thing. I'll see you in a month. And I bet you all of you could lose some weight, 5 to 10 pounds, maybe, to see how mean you are to yourself, right? How punitive you are. So this is not what we're wanting, unless if this is what you want, if you want to just like lose weight and gain weight, then goodbye. You don't have to say if you don't want it, because that's not what I'm teaching. I'm not teaching that. What I'm teaching is that we can create sustainable, loving, permanent weight loss by having this productive action. You gain experience that creates permanent, sustainable weight loss. Okay. These are the 5 steps for permanent weight loss. Are you ready? Weight loss science is simple. You understand the foundation, you can do it. You're like, oh, that's a science. I was a grade 5 teacher for many years. And there was a TV show. Are You as Smart as a 5th grader? Everything that I learned, I love to be able to explain it to a 5th grader. And I currently have I have a grade 4 and a grade 7, grade 9, no, 10 and 12. And so I really love communicating to them and like making things that's really, really understandable. Okay. So you have a very solid foundation. You make your own protocol and then you troubleshoot it. And when I talk about a protocol, what I'm saying is it just simply is, this is what I eat and this is what I don't eat. And I will eat sugar and flour sometimes. I just plan in advance. Like you just get to create. I eat, I snack, I don't snack, like whatever that is. And whatever because even right now you have a eating protocol. It's just, we have to see if that protocol that you're eating right now is serving you or not. And then we just get to be interactive with it, right? We get to be really productive and interactive. So our brains and bodies already have a connection. So if we had a thought like, I'm late, my heart would start beating, I might sweat a little bit, my eyesight actually gets like more focused. The adrenaline really starts running, because if we're late, we need to get that extra. So we have a thought which triggers a physical response. A baby cries and we're like, oh, or that is how we're wired. And the problem is, especially with weight gain, we cut off our emotions from our body. Like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to. We hide. And so now we're disconnecting our ability to really understand what's happening. And so we work on this a lot. And so it's really helped my women, like even with like thyroid and arthritis and bursitis and all of those kinds of things. We really go into that because this really is our natural connection. And when we cut it off here, just keeping it in our heads, we miss out on so much growth and so much opportunity to change. Now, feelings are the key to the universe. Okay, they unlock our problems. And when you decide that you're 100% responsible for your own feelings, you're like, I'm always in charge of me. That, my friends, that will change everything. So we do this in modules 7, 8, 9, and 10. I just absolutely love this concept that we're 100% responsible for ourselves. And then the fifth step for permanent, sustainable, loving weight loss is that you actually learn to create and grow confidence. You're no longer punching yourself in the face, and you're no longer needing people. Okay. So when you think about this, why are you consuming more energy than your body needs? Why do you have that extra helping? Why do you, when you walk through the kitchen, why do you grab that extra thing? Why are you like sneaking that chocolate? Why are you like going through the drive-through, just being like, well, it's just this once? Why are you doing that? Like, have you ever really thought about that? Okay. So, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to do. So now, oh yeah. So I talked about the 8 phases for the vicious cycle. Nope, sorry. So this is the way I walk my clients through. The first thing is we actually look at the data, the number on the scale is data. We're like, oh, okay, this is good. Like we now have information. Then we get curious about why is that number the way it is? Like people aren't feeding me during the night. Like what's happening? Why am I the mass that I am? Because the scale really is just like gravity's pull on your body, right? Just that's all it is. And then we start to experiment with food. Does this sound like a science experiment? It sure does, right? And then we get to be curious. And then we can start learning how to create our own protocol that's going to serve us. That's going to help us to have the kind of life that we want. And then what happens is as we look at the number on the scale every day, we start to be able to be objective and we can tweak or troubleshoot. It's like, okay, here are the basics, and I'm gonna teach you inside Love Yourself Thin lifetime membership. I'm gonna teach you the basics. Those are modules 1 and 2. And then, and in fact, in the month of February, I'm actually gonna do a version of the 12 modules all together. It's gonna be really fun, really interacting with the modules, really helping you get to know them. I'm really excited about how that's gonna help you to get through the 12 modules and to really start mastering them. So then what happens is you start accepting your body as it is. Because probably right now you're at the phase where your body is like, she's kind of disgusting, like the rolls or whatever. Like, and then you just kind of get disgusted. I mean, there's people on here that are my clients already. So like, they've already kind of gone through some of this, but there's new ladies on here. And so what's going to happen is so right now you might think your body's disgusting. You might think, oh, you're repulsed by it or whatever that is. And then we can kind of get to like, well, my hands are pretty good. And then we go into some neutral. And then we can actually start getting acceptance. And we really actually start going into truly appreciating your body. And that's a journey. And that is a journey that I love to be a part of. It is truly an honor to be able to witness how these women completely change their relationships. So now you can focus on the process and not the end result. So Jody Moore, she's a life coach, and she said, the results are the most boring part. And at first I was like, what is she talking about? It's so much fun to get that number on the scale. It's so much fun to reach certain goals. But what's really fun is like the process. It's like, wow, look at the journey that I went on to get here. This is amazing. I am so good to myself. I love that I'm like creating this life for me. Then after this is happening with the process on the scale, and you're really working on that process of why am I turning to the food and my protocol and all of that, then you start to be able to predict the number on the scale within 80%. And this is very empowering. It's very exciting. And so number 8, you get food freedom because you no longer tie your self-worth to the number on the scale. That, my friends, that is freedom. So when you start learning this process, why these 5 vital steps work. So you only lose weight when you become your own authority. Cannot emphasize that enough. You need to be in charge of your own life. What a novel concept. You are with taxes, you are with all other sorts of things. But I'm telling you, you are to be trusted. It's like, again, like if you brought a brand new baby home, you're like, I don't know. But they trusted you. When I had my first classroom, they're like, well, you went to university, we trust you. I'm like, okay, I'll do my best I can. And so as you get that ownership and as you take charge of that, you now are able to start to say, okay, these are my foundational principles. This is what Dara's taught me. Weight loss science is simple. Okay, our brains are connected to our bodies. Our bodies will tell us things and so now you can be like, you can start implementing all of this new knowledge and all this new framework and make it your own. So you apply them, you're going to fail. I mean, the first time you made a quilt, if we showed everyone like our first quilts, we would all be laughing and we'd all be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I can't believe, look at those seams. I'm so glad you didn't quit. I was at my dad's quite a bit at the beginning, in October, November, December, and September, October, November. And he had out one of the first, it was actually the first half square triangles I ever made. It was so bad in my free motion quilting. And I was just like, oh my word, I can't believe I did this. And I was so proud of myself because I'd never done anything like that before. It was before the internet, before you had like, YouTube channels to learn from. And, I was just, so this is the process. This is the process of what we've done for quilting, what we've done for all of our careers, raising children, being like growing up on your own, like going out for yourself for the first time. And this is the process. So why would it be different with weight loss? And the thing is now you don't put all the emotion into it. So you can actually evaluate. And that's what I'm going to be talking about that. So you take responsibility for your body, your life, and yourself. Now, the nice thing is there's only 3 things that can happen when you do that. Oh yeah, this is where it gets mixed up. Okay. We got them flipped. So you can either lose weight, you can either gain weight, or you can either stay the same. You only have 3 outcomes when you do this process, when you create your own protocol, when you start applying these foundational knowledge that I'm foundational pieces of knowledge that I'm teaching you. So you either gain weight, you either lose weight, or you stay the same. So now you are in control of all of it. And in order to see how this is going to go, you require 5 emotions. Now, our emotions are the fuel for our action. So we have thoughts. Our thoughts create emotions. Our emotions fuel our actions. Our actions give us our results. So you only need 5 emotions to be successful with weight loss. Sustainable, beautiful, permanent weight loss. That's it. You need willingness to fail. So that's called courage. Thoughts of like the Wizard of Oz, right? The lion. So we need courage. We need to have resilience to get back up. So if the scales goes up by 5 pounds, you're like, oh my goodness. You're like, no, oh my goodness. Like, okay, let's get my science hat on. Let's see what's going on. Okay, you're very resilient. You have commitment to the process. We don't want that little motivation like, okay, I gotta be motivated. I gotta listen to my, my music, and I gotta go and print off all the things, and I gotta go and buy all this stuff. And I'm really motivated, and I got all the containers, and I'm gonna make all these lunches, and I'm gonna cook all these chicken breasts, and I'm gonna make freezer meals, and I'm gonna put it all in my fridge, and I'm gonna be so committed. So motivated. Oh, motivation fizzles. We want infinite commitment to the process. Okay. That is how my clients are getting the results that they have. They're losing 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds because they're committed to the process. And they can go up 10 pounds. Some of them go up 20 pounds. I'm like, who cares? What are we learning? What are we doing? And then they're going to drop it. It's going to be fine. It's the stock market. Okay. Now, desire. And not only just desire, but we want to be successful. We want to be great. We want to live the life that we want to live. We don't want a mediocre life. And I got to give you a warning that if you don't want a mediocre life, if you just want a mediocre life, then just keep doing what you're doing. But if you want an excellent life, you want excellence, if you want to live, truly live and do amazing things like get your wedding dress from 30 years ago and wear it again for your 30-year anniversary. And one of my clients on here, that's what she's going to be doing. It's like, I want to be that person. I don't want to read about those people. I want to be that person. Okay. Then you have discipline to do it even when it's difficult. You're like, well, I don't really want to cook all those chicken breasts, and I don't really want to. No. It's just so much easier to go through the drive-through. I'll start tomorrow. I'll start later on tonight. I just won't eat tomorrow. It'll be fine. Okay. You relate to that? I'll just drink a lot of water. Today, my email went out about like the crazy things we do to negotiate for weight loss. Okay. So again, those are the only 3 outcomes, and all you have to have are those emotions. So now I'm going to tell you, and so I'm going to tell you soon what the skills and results are when you apply this. Okay. I'm doing good for time. All right. I know I'm talking kind of fast. Okay. So here are, I got my COVID booster. I can't do that. Oh, it's a little sore. Okay. So here we feel, this is the reason why we have the yo-yo dieting. This is why you've been doing this, right? You feel bad about yourself, right? Then you research, you feel convinced you're awful, you do all that. So I'm going to show you the contrast of what I teach and how I am able to help all of my clients walk through this process where it's no longer yo-yo dieting. It's like, I am in this for the long game. I am learning to master this body I've been given, or this body that I have. And I don't need to have the number go up for me to feel good about myself. If the number goes up, great, I have learned something. If the number goes down, great, I've learned something. Actually, today, my business coach, I was reading a post and she said, you're always winning or learning. Isn't that amazing? You're always winning or learning. And in this process I'm teaching you, you're always winning or learning. Okay. So you feel bad. So you're like, I gotta do some action. So here, I want to tell you something. This is the only thing you take from this webinar. Your worth has already been decided. The day you were born, the day that you were a sweet little baby. Because at what point did that baby not be worthy? What did we like have to like not clean our rooms 5 times in a row? And they were like, that's it. You got to start earning your love. You got to start deserving things. Like, I really want you to think this. I remember when I first learned this concept, I was like, what is even happening? It really threw me. What do you mean your worth is already set? You mean you don't have to prove yourself to anyone? You don't have to like earn yourself. You don't have to be worthy of something. What are you talking about? I mean, how many of us are people pleasers? And don't you worry, I got a whole thing on people pleasing for you. Like, what are we even saying here? So I really want you to like let that sink in. And if you have any questions, like please put them in the chat or ask me or anything, because this is probably the most important thing that I teach you as your very most important foundation. So now you research and you're like, I'm so terrible. I'm so awful. What's wrong with me? Why can't I get this figured out? I'm how old and I still haven't figured this out. So you go with this energy of like, I'm terrible. Help me. Rather than it's like, I want you to make an informed decision. And the fact that you're here at this call, I'm like, yeah, you're my peeps, right? You're making an informed decision. You came to a webinar. At some of you, it's like 9 o'clock at night. Amazing, right? So now here, number 3, you just like, okay, here's the money, you solve it for me. Whereas here, I want you to be an active participant. I have live coaching calls. I have people come on screen and I share with them. I have Ask a Coach, ask me anything. You can bring it. We have a Facebook group, like just bring it on. I'm here for you, right? You have so much access to me because this is an active process. It's not a like top down. I'm just feeding you all this stuff. No. That's why we have the modules all recorded so you can go to them. I'm here to be your resource. I'm here to show you your brain and help you solve it. Okay. Now, deprivation and so you go into deprivation, you use fear as your fuel, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be really hard, it's gonna be really hard, but when I get to the number on the scale, then everything's gonna be worth it and it's gonna be fine. Right? I can do anything for like 90 days. But what about the end of those 90 days? You don't want to keep living that way? Or do you want to have something that's very sustainable? It's like you don't have to think about. That's why I don't count calories. I myself have lost 50 pounds and kept it off without counting calories or exercising. So I'm like, that sounds terrible to me. I do not want to be writing down numbers and putting things on, scanning food and measuring. No, that's not me. That does not sound fun. Some people love it. Fill your boots, but not me. And that is not sustainable. And that does not feel loving to me. Okay. So now I teach, we're going to focus on the process. I want you to have infinite commitment. It's like, I am going to figure this out no matter what. And I want to tell you something. I know that every single person that signs up for my program, they can be successful. 100%. When they do the things, that's why I have a money back guarantee. I say, there's a couple of things you have to do. And when you do those things, you're going to lose it. It's going to be totally fine. It's just going to start happening. It's inevitable. When you do these things, your success is inevitable. Okay. I love that. So you can have some plateaus. You can gain some weight back. But if you keep focused and you commit to yourself, you will have 100% success. Not a problem. Okay. The only time you don't is if you go back to over here. Hustle, hustle, hustle. I need to get to that number. Number 5. So you get the results, but you're like, oh, I feel terrible. I thought when I got to the number, rainbows and daisies, right? No, because you didn't focus on the process. The process was horrible. It was awful. You're like, I never want to do that again. So I teach you that life is going to be 50-50. You will have 50% of your life is going to be amazing and wonderful, and 50% is going to be really hard. And that's actually very normal. That's part of being a human. So now, number 6, sabotage yourself by convincing, proving you can't. You're like, yeah, I'm not really that smart. And you're just like, tell me what to do. Kind of like going back to my computer example for my GAML. It's like, I don't want to take the time to sit down and read all the how computers work. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me the steps. Yeah, but guess what? Sometimes you miss a step and then you're like hooped because you don't know how to you have no clue what even the process was, right? So I teach you, I teach you to embrace being a human. And it was interesting. Even today, I was writing some things down and then I wrote, welcome to being a human. And if we want to have, like I said, you want to have the excellence, you want to have a life of excellence, you have to be willing to put in the work. I have a niece that just competed in the Canadian, she was on the Canadian water polo team in the Olympics. Talk about excellence, talk about mastery. I mean, when COVID happened and everything shut down, she made a pool, this is amazing, out of hay bales with giant tarps, filled it up, got a wetsuit, and treaded water for hours because she was like, I'm going to go to the Olympics. I am about excellence. It could have been very easy for her to quit, especially because they don't even know if the Olympics were even going to happen. She was like, I don't care. She was in Calgary. It's cold there. And she made her own pool. That is what I'm talking about. Infinite commitment. And this is what happens in my program. Okay. We learn what it takes to be committed to ourselves no matter what. Okay, so we've learned how to be 100% responsible for all of our own emotions and our results. And yeah, when you resign, you're like, I'm not, like, it's, COVID's fault, it's menopause fault, it's DNA fault, it's, her fault, it's their fault, it's my husband's fault, it's my job's fault, it's so stressful, it's my kids' fault, they're just such bad listeners, whatever. Okay. Now, number 8, you wait to this again when the number on the scale happens again. Well, this is the part where I get to teach you how to reflect and evaluate. And you're able to reflect and evaluate from a place of love and even at the beginning, just even a place of like neutrality. Okay, it's going to be so much more helpful. Okay, so when you learn this process, these are the skills you're going to create. You have like a whole new skill set. You're going to understand weight loss science. You're going to participate in the information. You're going to build confidence. You're going to recognize and process your emotions. You're going to evaluate your progress. You're going to learn some self-coaching skills. And the model is amazing. And so you're going to see how your thoughts are creating your results. Then you learn a whole series of life coaching tools that I'm going to teach you about our thinking creates our results. So you're going to learn to actually articulate the thoughts you're having and then break them down and see why you're getting the results you have. Okay. Oops. And then the results that are going to be created is you get permanent, sustainable weight loss. Yeah, no more yo-yo dieting. I mean, unless you want to do like, which I do, like 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 2 pounds, 4 pounds, 2 pounds. As this goes up and down, just the way it rolls. So you have a loving relationship with your body, yourself, and others. I can't even tell you how many of my clients, their marriages have improved so much, their relationships with their moms. I could do like a whole subsection on moms. I have one client, she's like, her mom visited and she said she had no idea she could have so much fun with her mom. It just was amazing. And so you also have more productivity and you're more productive in your creative life because you have so much more space in your brain. You're not beating yourself up all the time. You're not thinking about how awful your body is. You're not feeling like, and also like with urges, like, oh, you're just feeling so drawn to the sugar or to the flour, or you're like, oh, you're so distracted by carbs or by like bakeries or whatever that is, like, or even thinking about your meals, like you're not obsessing about what you're going to be eating all the time. Okay. So you're going to save a lot of time. You're going to gain time because your brain focus is going to be so much different. You're going to save money. You're not going to do you're not going to be doing the same impulse buying. You're not needing to turn. Oh, the other with saving time too is like, you're not scrolling on Facebook as much. You're not checking your Instagram and like all of a sudden you're like, where did those 2 hours just go watching reels? Like that's all going to leave. That's all going to go. You can plan for those times. Like I have a timer on my phone, 30 minutes for Instagram. Okay. And Facebook. You're also going to conquer the triple P. So this is perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination. And I have the 12-step perfection recovery program. That's amazing. And then the other result you're going to get is just going to be overall happier. Just a general sense of being happier. So that is our training for tonight. So I'd love to thank you for coming. And it was really fun to spend this time with you. So if you want to stay on the call, I'm now going to talk about what it would take for you to be a part of my Love Yourself Thin lifetime membership. So excited for you to be there. Okay. So here we have the 5 vital steps to permanent weight loss. we've got Weight Loss Science is Simple, which is covered in modules 1 and 2. Create and troubleshoot for your own protocol, modules 3 and 4. Recognize and process your emotions. So now you can really take responsibility for what's going on because it's already happening. So we don't have to stop anything. We can just let it happen. So that's modules 5, 6, and 7, taking responsibility for yourself and feeling all of those emotions. That's modules 8, 9, and 10. And then we're going to create confidence, which is in modules 11 and 12. So those are how I cover those. Now, the 5 steps for permanent weight loss, you receive the modules and the, so the modules are all pre-recorded. They're in the portal. And then you also get the workbook, which is right here. And then you also have a digital copy, and you can keep that track of it all in, you have your very own portal within the website. So when you sign up, you get to have, it's like your own little like room. I think of it like a, you know, like a retreat center, and everyone has their own little room, and you can put all your stuff there, keep track of everything. So and you have lifetime access. So that is my program. It's $2,000. You can go right now and you can purchase www.darathomason.com/love-yourself-thin/. So you can go right now and you can pay. And I see on the call, we have several women that have already signed, which is super fun. So let me just tell you, because I'm always wanting to guarantee my client's success. Okay, sorry, I had to check the chat. Oh, there we go. Oh, Rochelle just posted, oh, the medical, necessity. So there is funding for that too. Yes, thank you, Rochelle. So one of the things that I want to always do is support my clients in the best way possible. So I was a one-on-one coach, and then I went to small groups. And so now this is the very first time I've opened my program to lifetime membership. And so this is a new feature that is being implemented in the website, in the program. It's called Ask a Coach. So you can ask your very own specific question. So like, how do I know if my protocol is working? I'm going to a party, help, don't want to cook 3 meals for each meal because you're cooking for your husband, different for your kids. Oh, pardon me. I'm so discouraged. So you can write whatever you want, and I will answer, or one of my certified life coaches. So I have women who've gone through my program, one is in the process of being certified. The other one has been certified. She's amazing. And so we will answer them. And then basically what happens is we have like a giant treasure trove of questions that people have asked. And so you can go through those and you can learn from those as well. But it allows you to really get specific, and it also is anonymous. So you don't have to put your name on it. So that's also really nice as well. Okay. So Ask a Coach is part of what you get when you pay the $2,000. I also want to mention, if you are Canadian, when you go to the sales page, when you go to the /love-yourself-thin it will say Canadian, you pay that because of course we get to pay our taxes, which I'm grateful for. And then if you're American or from anywhere else, then it will be in American. Okay. So the next thing we do, I've provided for you to have the most success in my program, is our Facebook community. And so in this Facebook community that's opening on Saturday, we're going to have a launch party. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have some prizes and some games. We use 3 different hashtags. So one is #celebrate. So I went to the party with my sister-in-law, honored my plan. #coaching. I'm not sure how to keep up with the modules, don't seem to have the time. #evaluation. The scale hasn't moved in 3 days. I'm having trouble figuring it out why. So now we will, on the Facebook group, we will help you. And then other women in the program can also contribute thoughts, and then that will be monitored by our certified life coaches so that we can have a really high quality Facebook group. There will be no complaining. There'll be no, like, we're keeping it very positive and very productive. Okay. So that is available too. And then this element is probably one of my most favorite, because what happens when you come to a live coaching call? So every Monday, I have created, every month we have a new theme. And so we will have a module. We will have like curriculum, because I was an elementary school teacher and I love to create this for all of you. And basically what it's doing is it's allowing us to take a little bit of a deeper dive or a different focus into one of the elements of the 12 modules. And so Monday's class is very much focused on that month's topic. So like perimenopause, menopause is one of them. People pleasing is one of them. All of those, the different topics. So they're already set for 2022. And then the second and third coaching calls, that's when you come ready to be coached, ready to ask questions, ready to say, I was trying to do the model. I'm trying to figure this out. I don't know why I keep getting this result. And then I will help you, and my coaches will help you on that call, and you get that individual attention. And that is amazing. And so we have 3 calls a week, which is amazing. You don't have to come to all of them. Of course, if you want to, you can. But for my guarantee for the first 12 weeks, when you come to them, that's part of the guarantee. Okay. So for $2,000, you have the 5 vital steps. So you've got the 12 modules with the 5 steps that we just went over. Then you get the Ask a Coach. You get our Facebook community. You have the weekly coaching calls. And then I have created, I've been doing this for over a year and a half of the Monday focus classes. So those are all in your curriculum. Now, when you get into the program, you will not be able to get to these until you finish the 12 modules. Okay. Because I do not want you to go into the world of overwhelm. I'm not interested in that. I want you to have the most success possible. So, you can have access to all these. Also my pop-up groups, procrastination. I've done a bunch of pop-up groups that are so awesome. And then, so they're available for you. Okay. And so I will talk about my 20 pounds in 90-day guarantee. So there are 3 things that you need to do to qualify for that. They are fairly simple. But what I want to emphasize is that and the reason I have a money back guarantee, first of all, is because I know so many of you have paid money for programs in the past, and I really want to, I honor your money, and I also honor that when you invest in yourself, you show up in a different way than you have in the past. Okay, so there's that one part. And the other part is I want you to feel invested. And so if we put this guarantee, it also takes pressure off of your brain. You're like, oh, there's a guarantee. Oh, there's a simple path. Oh, I just need to do a few things. And guess what? If I'm having a hard time with keeping that up, I can go to Ask a Coach. I can go to the Facebook group. I can bring it up at the weekly coaching. Do you see how all of that is in your favor? And I've created those for you to have your very best success. It's all in your favor. It's all for you to have that success. So that is why I've created the 20 pounds in 90 days. So in 3 months for you. And those are my reasons. Okay. And so for signing, so I will be sending you a digital copies beforehand of the 12 modules and a digital copy of the 12-step perfection recovery program. So if you buy on this call right now, and I see, oh, she's already gone, but one of the ladies, she bought this morning. this was a really fun way to like wake up this morning. I was like, oh, she's in the program. So are there any of you that have any questions about the Love Yourself Thin? Oh, and then just one more thing. There are 2 ways to work with me, actually. So you can work with me in my lifetime membership, which is $2,000. You pay me once and you never have to pay me again, unless you want to go into what I call the mastermind, Love Yourself Thin Mastermind, because what we've talked about today in this webinar is when you learn to master this beautiful mind of yours, the lower and the higher brain, that's where you create the results. And the focus of this mastermind is on weight loss maintenance. So we're going to continue getting you to your ideal weight. And even for me, I didn't even realize this was my ideal weight. And it's fun because I'm doing a little experiment in preparation, because the mastermind starts March 2nd. So I'm still in it with my ladies, which I love. So if that is something you're interested in, so the mastermind is $8,000. And if you sign up for the lifetime membership, it will be included. So it's included in the price. It's $8,000 with the $2,000 Love Yourself Thin lifetime membership included. Okay. Are there any other questions for you, ladies? So a lot of times ladies are asking about the question about what times are the classes. So on Mondays, they're at 9 a.m. Pacific. And then right now we have Wednesdays at 10 and Thursdays at 2. So those are all, I'm on the West Coast. I live in a beautiful Vancouver Island. And so those are the times. And we are going to be very cognizant of people who work, all of that. So as our program grows and as the membership increases, we will listen to you. And classes start, that's right, January 17th. So next week. And then this Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific, we are having a little party. Well, I shouldn't say little, we're having a party. And we're going to have some quilting games. We're going to have some prizes. It's going to be really fun. And we're just going to be celebrating you in investing in yourself. I think that one of the things I see so often in the women I work with is that we have been putting ourselves on the back burner for far too long. We had a discussion about how we had a date, like we were going to go to meet a friend at the local quilt shop or go to Starbucks or, just having like meet with a friend. We would never show up late, or if we did, it would be like, that would be so unlike us. But if we made a commitment to ourselves, we don't hold ourselves to the same standard. And that is a big problem that I see in so many of my ladies, because when you don't prioritize yourself, you just, it's like you're giving your ability to have your results away. You won't be able to. So, yeah. And I also have a consult, 20 minutes, that you can just come and talk to me about anything, any questions you have. It is an investment, and I want you to feel really comfortable and confident about the investment that you're making. And so having that time just to talk with me I just find it really helpful. It helps me to see what's going on for you, and I can serve you in the best way. I can kind of direct you in the path, like I can help you specifically, because even though this is a group program, the way that I've set it up is truly to serve you in the best way possible. And one of the things that I believe in so strongly is the more women that are able to create this relationship with their body, and they're able to really learn the process of loving yourself thin, the faster and faster women will get results. I'm seeing that in my groups, because it's so powerful. And it's like almost like you're feeding like a flower garden, and they're just growing and growing, and then more flowers come from it, and it just spreads, and it just becomes, it's like its own entity. And so, you know, if you, yeah, so that's something I've been really noticing about how that growth happens. And so if you have friends or other people who you think would really benefit from it, then of course you can pass on along that information to them as well. Do you have to be a quilter to join? You don't have to be a quilter to join. We do a lot of quilt talk though. We do a lot of quilt analogies. And so I did have a lady who she took quilting classes because she really wanted to join. And so she signed up. And when I was in Wisconsin for my live event, which is happening in October again, she came and she didn't live that far. And so she met me at the quilt shop because we did the live event at Lisa Bonjean's retreat center. And that was really fun to see her. And she's like just loving quilting. She's just really embraced it. So yeah, you don't have to be a quilter to join. All right. Any other questions, ladies? I have, my son has a basketball game tonight, but I'm not allowed to go. Nobody's allowed, but we're not complaining because when COVID first started, they canceled all basketball, and my oldest son didn't get his last year of the high school basketball, which he was really looking forward to. So the fact that my son still gets to play, but we don't get to watch him, I just think, well, at least he gets to play. At least he has that experience. And then we hear about it afterwards from him. I would love for you to share on average how many pounds your clients lose with the first 12 weeks and keep it off. Oh, such a good question. Most of my ladies lose about 20 pounds. I would say the average is probably 25 in the first 12 weeks. So a lot of ladies, it depends on where you start out, but I would say that definitely would be the 25 pounds in the 12 weeks. And it's been really fun for me now that I've been doing, so my group started, my first group I did last October, and there are women 86, like all different ages, and they have been able to keep using the tools. I also was doing like, I do webinars and things to help them keep it up, and they've been able to have success. And they, but a lot of them really enjoy coming because if you don't have that constant like support, then you're not getting, a lot of them will like stay the same weight for months, and then they'll come and they'll get some coaching, and then they'll be able to go down again a little bit. So it really is, our brains are blocked, like we're blocked by our brain. And if you don't have a coach to help you, and if you're not able to do the self-coaching without like some guidance, then it's a little bit more challenging. It's totally possible, but it's more challenging. And that's why I've offered it as a lifetime membership, because I don't want you to ever feel like adding more pressure to yourself. We have enough pressure. We have given ourselves so much pressure our whole lives. And so that is why I've decided to, it's not a monthly subscription. It's not like you better get in and get all the information and get out. It's like, it's an investment. So just like a sewing machine, you invest in a sewing machine and then you get all the joy from that sewing machine for so long. It's the same thing with Love Yourself In. You'll find it's like a community. It really is a beautiful group of women, and it's the most supporting, loving way of losing weight and keeping it off. All right. So if there's no other questions, I think we can call it a night. So again, any other questions you want to ask me personally, I welcome you. There's Rochelle has posted the consult. There's like a little calendar. And today I had a consult with a lady, and she said that the button was really light and she could hardly tell that that's what the button was. So so if you are having a hard time with it, yeah, you can always email us, support@darathomason.com. All right, ladies, it was wonderful to spend this evening with you. I am really looking forward to the success that you will have as you join this program. And I can't wait to continue helping you with all of your weight loss goals. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.